What's going on, Giants fans? Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. Tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. In today's show, we're going to talk about Daniel Jones and the rumors that they're leaning or where they're leaning on his fifth-year option. John Ross versus Darius Slayton. So let's get into the Daniel Jones rumors that came out yesterday. Jordan Renan was first on it. He said the Giants are leaning towards declining the fifth-year option for Daniel Jones. And I don't think this is much of a surprise to me or any Giants fans watching this video. The fact that his fifth-year option is worth $21.4 million. That's a little bit too much for Daniel Jones, who really hasn't proved yet, a guy I still believe in, we'll talk about that can be a franchise quarterback. He's coming off a serious neck injury. Nobody really knows where he stands health-wise, but at the end of the day, this is someone that you spent a premium draft pick on. The Giants, they have until May 2nd to pick up the fifth-year option. I think they got to decline it. You have to decline the fifth-year option. Maybe he goes out in his fourth year after you decline the fifth-year option and he balls out, and then he's going to be entering a period where he would be an unrestricted free agent going into that fifth-year option. If he goes out and shows that he can be a franchise quarterback in that year, then you just franchise him or you try to work out a long-term deal where you can get him at a low salary cap hit. We're going to take a deeper dive into this talk and why I think the Giants can decline it and what Daniel Jones has done so far through his NFL career. But I want to know what you would do if you were Joe Schoen and the Giants general manager. You got a couple months to figure it out, but what would you do with the fifth-year option? If you think they should pick it up, go down in the comments, type P for pickup. Or if you think they should decline it, where I think things are heading towards, and there's a good idea that they will decline it, go down in the comments and type D for decline. I'm curious where all of you stand on this, because this is someone that has a very polarizing image in the Giants fan base. So go down in the comments and let me know. And while you're down there below this video, go hit that big red button, because we're trying to close the gap here between another Chat Sports channel, that being Steelers Talk. They do videos on the Steelers. We do videos on the Giants. And there's no reason we should be behind over 2,000 subscribers. So if you love the Giants and you're looking for a one-stop shop on YouTube about Giants news and rumors, this is your channel. So go down right now and hit that big red button so we can catch up to Steelers Talk. I still believe in Daniel Jones. There's a couple reasons for that. But the main one is what he did earlier this season against the New Orleans Saints, where he led a game-tying drive in the fourth quarter, then a game-winning drive in overtime against the New Orleans Saints, a really good defense that shut out Tom Brady. I still believe in Daniel Jones. The good with Jones is good enough to be a solid quarterback in the National Football League. But the bad with Daniel Jones is the reason that he may be a backup just next year in the NFL. When you look at his stats between his rookie year and what he's done since, it's kind of mind-blowing. In his rookie year, where he was under Pat Shurmur, and that's where he's had his most success, he threw 24 touchdowns in 12 games. He had a lot of turnovers. He threw 12 picks. He fumbled the rock 19 times. But that was an area we knew DJ was going to struggle coming out of Duke. But the fact in the next 25 games, he's only thrown 21 touchdowns, and he's thrown 17 interceptions and fumbled 17 times, you can look at it one of two ways. He's had a bad offensive coordinator in Jason Garrett. It's been a very fluid situation with guys around him. But I look at it like this. He's cut down on the fumbles from 19 in his rookie year to 17 in that area, so he's improved on that. But at the end of the day, you have to hope. Can Brian Daboll get the most out of Daniel Jones? I don't think you're going to see a Josh Allen type of leap from Daniel Jones that Allen had under Brian Daboll, but can he get the most out of him? Can he squeeze the juice out of DJ that shows maybe he is deserving of another year or another contract with New York Giants for Daniel Jones? This is the year. This is the last chance Daniel Jones is going to have with the New York Giants to prove that he is a franchise quarterback and someone that the Giants spent their assets well when they drafted him early in the first round. If they don't think Daniel Jones has shown enough this year, that being Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, they have no ties to Daniel Jones. This is someone that they can cut bait with and move on next year. If he plays bad, you're most likely going to be back at the top of the draft in the 2023 NFL draft, where there are a lot of good young quarterbacks that the Giants could look at and try to fill Daniel Jones' spot. If he plays good, if you see an improvement, I'm not expecting the Giants to make the playoffs next year or compete for the for the Super Bowl trophy. But if you see enough out of Daniel Jones where you're like, man, he's improved, he's heading on the right track, I'd be cool with him being back under center for the Giants next season in 2023. This is the year. If Jones wants to be an NFL franchise quarterback, this is his last chance to really show everybody that he can be that guy. But I want to know what you have to say on whether he is a franchise quarterback. So get down in the comments, be active for me, rep it. I know a lot of you love DJ. I know a lot of you want DJ out. So this is your chance to let me know. Is Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback? If you think he is, go down in the comments and type F for franchise, type B for backup, or if you're unsure like I am and you need to see a little bit more, go down in the comments and type T for TBD. Something you want to get your hands on as soon as possible is this Giants hoodie or another one we'll show you in a second. You got to go to chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. This one was $70. Now it's $52. The other one we showed you, it's also on sale. That was $65. Now it's $48. When you go to chatsports.com/Giants hoodies, they have all types of Giants hoodies that are on sale. It's going to be cold for a couple more weeks and months, so rep some Giants gear. Wear a Giants hoodie when you're trying to stay warm. You're not going to find a better deal. Shout out to Fanatics, but you got to go to chatsports.com/Giants hoodies to get that deal. They're on sale. They look good, so go do it. Get some Giants gear. Next up on the show, we're going to talk about John Ross, someone that didn't play that much in his first season with the New York Giants, but he had some splash plays. The big touchdown against the New Orleans Saints. He had some big catches in overtime in that game. That was probably the best game he had with the Giants this past season. But as a whole, when you look at the Giants depth chart when it comes to the wide receiver position, there's just not a lot of talent. Kenny Golladay, he didn't perform like you thought he was going to be when you gave him the $72 million contract coming over from Detroit. Sterling Shepard, he's coming off another brutal injury, and he might be a cap-cut casualty in the next coming weeks. Kadarius Toney, he had some splash games, and he had other games where you're like, man, was this guy really drafted in the first round? At the end of the day, I'm still in on Toney. I think he can be an electric playmaker in the National Football League. It's just rare you find someone like him that can do the things he does after he catches the football. Darius Slayton, he had a down year. His first 2 years in the NFL were really, really good. Speaking of Darius Slayton, let's take a look at what his stats look like when you compare him to John Ross from the 2021 NFL season. Slayton, he had more opportunities. He played in more games. He played in 13. John Ross played in 10. He was targeted 58 times where John Ross was targeted just 20 times. But at the end of the day, when you look at Darius Slayton, he's regressed every year in the NFL. And this past year, the drops were extremely bad. 6 drop passes and an average catch of 13.0. But then you look at the flip side of John Ross. He dropped just 1 ball, and he had an average catch of 22.4. He had that lone touchdown against the New Orleans Saints, but he just brings a different dynamic to this offense. We're going to talk about this later and more in depth in a couple of minutes, but I want to know where you stand right now. Darius Slayton, he had his contract increased from less than $1 million to $2.3 million because he exceeded his contract, so he got a boost. He's up to $2.3 million. The Giants, they may cut him. Joe Schoen, he has no ties to Darius Slayton. So if you had to pick a wide receiver to be on the roster next year, who would it be? Type JR for John Ross or DS for Darius Slayton. I'd prefer John Ross. I just think he brings a different element to your offense. He's the type of guy that defensive coordinators, even though he doesn't play that much and he was in and out of the lineup due to injuries, is someone that defensive coordinators have to game plan for and be aware when he is on the field. He has a field stretching ability that not many people in the NFL have. A 4.2 speed type of receiver is just different and puts pressure on defensive backs they're not used to. Although I still like Darius Slayton, and the fact that he did these numbers in his rookie season, when he was asked to be the Giants wide receiver 1, essentially after being a 5th-round draft pick, and there was a lot of guys hurt, he stepped up. And you saw the rapport that him and Daniel Jones have. You see Daniel Jones has a lot of trust in him. He'll throw him those 50-50 balls. I mean, back in his rookie year, he had 48 grabs, 8 touchdowns, and 740 yards. I still like Slayton, and I'd like for both of them to be on the roster next year. But if I had to choose one, it would be John Ross, because he is just a different type of athlete that brings a team speed to this Giants offense that they didn't have in the past. Darius Slayton, he's fast, but John Ross, he is a different type of fast. And when I look at it and I think of Mike Kafka, where did he come from? Kansas City. I'm not saying John Ross can be a Tyreek Hill type of player or a Mecole Hardman, but Ross would fit great in the Mike Kafka offense. And if you want to look at it from a Brian Dable point of view, he could do things that Isaiah McKenzie did with the Buffalo Bills last year, whether it be the jet sweeps or just the go routes or running post routes or stretching the field. I just think he brings a more diverse set of skills to the table than Darius Slayton does. I really like John Ross. I think I like the idea of John Ross more than he actually is, but when he's on the field, he makes defensive coordinators stay up at night because you don't want to give up that bomb to John Ross 80 yards down the sideline. That's how you break the back of a defense. I want to thank everybody for watching today's show, making Giants Now a part of your day. So get in the comments and name a random Giants player for me. If you do it, I'll give everybody a shout out that participates in this little challenge we got doing here. I'm trying to find more ways I can get you guys on screen and involved in the show. So if you want a shout out on the next New York Giants Now, go down in the comments and name a random Giants player. And give me a follow on Twitter, guys, at @MarshallGreen_, tweeting about the Giants all day, everybody. Every day. I love the Giants, and draft season is right around the corner. I don't think they're going to be big players in free agency, but if you want to stay up to date on who they're targeting or guys that are linked to, you can do it on my Twitter, at @MarshallGreen_.